Hey everyone! If you recognize this, this is the Crisp Air, a sheet from the Crisp Air workshop. I'm going to be making a layout with it today. It does have, it had a trim around it, so I will put it on a white background here. And it has these that you're meant to like fold these open and you can put pictures or things inside there, but that isn't what I'm going to use it for. I have these photos of my husband and I playing with what's called a Levitron. You can look it up and I'll tell you a bit more about it later. But I thought these would work because a Levitron spins. It's like a magnetic top. And so I thought like the circles and then these like sort of star shapes would work good for like the science game that a Levitron is. And I have a little story to tell with this. And so I haven't exactly planned how this will work, but I am definitely going to probably cut some of these in half and be using them in this layout. I'll be doing some decorations sort of to the sides, I think, just to give you maybe from this side, so just to give you a cross view. So that's the layout that I'll be working on today. And I'll be using a fall paper pack simply because it matches the colors in the Levitron and my husband's hat and his t-shirt. And I'm a redhead, so fall always goes with me. And this is the layout that I'm going to be working on today. So if you have this and you thought, I don't really want to make the layout that's in the workshop. So here it's this one here. So I will look through here and show you. Here it is. So this is one of the papers, and then there's another one like this. And it's neat. I probably would never make this layout because, as you guys know, I'd have to at very least put pictures in these holes because I'd be like, that is way too much empty space for me. I scrapbook to show off my pictures. So, but it is a neat idea. I do really like the idea with putting pictures in the windows. That's pretty cool. But I'm going to use it for something different today. I'm going to reimagine it. So the first thing I did was create some embellishments that would work with the theme of this layout. I wouldn't really know what to call the theme of this layout, but it was not going to work with the leaves and Crisp Air embellishments that came on the sticker sheet. So here's a couple of stamp sets from Urban. The first time we had Urban and the second time we had Urban, I got the stamp sets because they are all about boys and guys, and I have a lot of boys and guys in my house, so they're ideal for me. I just stamped them in the different colors of the layout. I didn't really have a plan, but I knew that I was going to decorate on top and on the bottom of the pictures that were going lengthwise across the layout. So I knew I needed a bunch of things to just sort of decorate with. And the other thing I was going to use was the little light bulbs that came with the In Full Bloom die cuts. They're black. I wanted to have a bit of black, touches of black in my layout just because the Levitron itself is black. So what a Levitron is a little top. You can still get them today, although this one was bought 20 years ago when I was first married, and there was a definite bone of contention. My husband had bought it and he had not told me about it because he knew there'd be a bone of contention because we were living a little bit hand to mouth. He was a university student. I was trying to be the breadwinner, and he purchased this Levitron for, now I think probably $60 or $70, but back then that was a lot of money to us, and I was so upset with him. People say the first year of marriage is the hardest, and I would not necessarily agree with that, but boy, that was a tough week. I was pretty upset with him for buying this thing that I thought was useless and he thought was the coolest thing ever. Anyways, it is a top with a magnet, a very strong magnet in it, and there's also magnets underneath the base, and you have like a little clear plastic piece that sits on top like an upside down cup. And you start spinning the top on top of the upside down cup, and then you lift that clear plastic piece. And if you have the magnets set correctly, the little feet on the bottom of the base set correctly, you will see the magnet lift and then hover because it's being pulled perfectly in all directions as it's spinning. And it is something that my husband had played with in his physics class at school and seen it work and thought it was the coolest thing, but he never got it to work back then. So of course you can imagine I was even more irritated by the fact that he paid all this money for this thing that never actually really did what it was supposed to do. Well, we moved into this house a year ago, just over a year, June of 2021. And during the winter, I guess he found it. It was in a new spot in this house. It probably was sort of packed away in the other house always. So this is 20 years later. He pulls it out and he thinks, well, I'm going to try this thing out again. And lo and behold, he gets it to work. So finally, after 20 years, the $60 or $70 Levitron actually levitates. And we all played with it and it was kind of neat. And I was done being mad about it, of course. So it's kind of a funny story. The whole idea of the story is kind of funny. So you probably have noticed now that I flipped the sheet, the whole background, so that the little diamonds, I guess, are going in on an angle, which I thought went better with my plan to decorate from corner to corner. So eventually you're going to see this hexagon move over above my husband because it just didn't work out there in the middle where I was trying to put it. The black and white strip of paper is a branding strip that I found around my craft room. I think more than once we've had, with Halloween paper packs and such, we've had the zip strip have a diagonal black and white stripe. So that's what that is. Then you've seen me stamp the orange stars and the rest of the embellishments, and then of course the light bulbs. The light bulbs don't strictly necessarily go with this, but I thought they worked for kind of, I wanted to go not with flowers or hearts or anything like that, right? So I needed something that was totally different, like science, or I can't really think what else you would call this layout besides a science layout. If you can think of what theme you would call this, I'd love it if you stuck it in the comments. I love engaging with the people that are watching my videos. So I did do a bit of fussing with moving this. That was so awesome, hexagon over. I wanted to sort of get it in that empty space above my husband's right shoulder on our left, watching the video. I think recently someone asked in a video, do you ever have it that when you put your embellishments down in the dry run before you glue them, they end up completely different than when you actually glue them down? And I thought, yep, I have that almost every time. So I did start with the title there on the bottom on a plastic bag, so I could, I just sort of set it on the edge of a piece of plastic so I could move it around and see where I wanted it. And it ended up that I liked it the best right underneath, and then adding the decorating in the linear strips underneath that. So that's how I ended up doing it. I also used pop tape for That Was Awesome and that little arrow. I end up using pop tape on the other little arrow in the circle and some other elements too. I've got elements kind of on top and underneath, just trying to make it look like a cohesive cluster. I don't end up using the word awesome because I already have the word awesome in the upper right corner, but I did use the word happiness because I happen to have it in a sticker in black and white, and it does make my husband very happy, this silly toy. So I put a little hashtag pound sign or whatever that I had in one of the stamp sets. It came in a little square, but I just punched it out with a little circle so that I could have 3 circles on the layout. I do like to have different shaped elements, and I find that this layout has a bunch of different shapes, which makes it really interesting to look at. If you're enjoying this video, I would really appreciate it if you would hit that like button and think about subscribing to my channel so that you get notifications when I post a new video. It helps YouTube to know that you're enjoying the content and show you more of the same, and it helps my channel out in the process. So I'd really appreciate that. Last but not least of adding the stamped images is these little orange stars for some pops of orange. I just cut them out, fussy cut them out with a scissors. And then I will move on to the journaling and adding a few more embellishments with epoxy dots and some silver thread, I guess, embellishing thread. So here's my little bit of journaling that I just wrote down in black ink, kind of that 20 years later, my husband got this toy to work finally. And that it was a bit of a bone of contention in the start of our marriage. It's always funny how things that were such a big deal back then are now just kind of a funny story. And I guess that's a good thing. You live and you learn. Here come the dots, and I just used black and I think silver glitter. Then I used some silver thread, just kind of wound up in a circle and tucked underneath some of the elements. I did use one orange dot on the upper right corner just to kind of tie some orange in over there. And we're coming to the very finishing touches of this layout. It's almost complete. I want to thank you for stopping by once again. I will link a few more videos that you might enjoy here on the end of this one, and I hope you will have a wonderful rest of your day. I thank you for your support and your comments, and I will see you the next time. Bye.